a strong hero. I mean, Venge is going to be able to swap him out of position at least, I guess, but you don't really care as a Pango. They still haven't exactly revealed what position this is going to be as well, right? Like Felix, it probably most likely be playing that in that position 4 role. I just feel like Pango is too strong right now. Like you just provide everything that you could possibly want: team fight control, lane shove, survivability, and you don't even need too many items. You know, all you need really is a blink dagger, and you can get so much done. Maybe like an orb of corrosion just synergizes so well with what you might be looking to go for here. So, I mean, what are we expecting? Monkey King, Ogre lane, Bloodseeker, Pango lane, Quap mid, pretty standard. And like Venge doesn't have the biggest attack range either, so she's in serious danger of getting gone on super early. They don't have any defensive dispels, so I feel like Ignite's going to get an insane amount of value for the Ogre. Like level 10, if you can get that Ignite talent, you can literally take off like 2/3 of someone's HP just with a single use of an Ignite.
You may now select your heroes.
Are the names not showing up for you? Oh yeah, they just did for me.
So
Monkey King 4. Fly by 3.
What? Okay. Well, we don't see a whole lot of Luna position 1 in general. I was thinking about a hybrid damage dealer. Morph and Gyro was sticking out just so you had a little bit of magical and physical to pair up with the Venge, and Nyx and Phoenix. The damage can ramp up as the game goes on in that regard, but for RNG though, like this is really interesting. Flexing the monkey to the 4, giving God King the Bloodseeker 1. Do you feel like Bloodseeker is that strong at the moment? Like we've been arguing that, yeah, it's pretty good versus the Pangolier, but as a position 1, it doesn't feel like it's this be all end all.
Not this game. Like my big concern is how are you going to scale on the same extent as a Luna does? And it's like Elephant's team fight is decent. You know, they're lacking maybe a little bit in lockdown, but at least you've got the Nyx Assassin that's going to be able to, like you said before, just easily set up onto the likes of a Bloodseeker. If you're in the right position, you can turn around onto a Queen of Pain. You can turn around to a Pangolier with a Swashbuckle, Ignite. Like every single one of their abilities is like, I don't want to say unavoidable damage, but if you're playing well enough on this Nyx, which Super of course can, then you've got a good way to be able to start these team fights. And that's all you really need to be able to get off, you know, your Supernova, your Eclipse, your Requiem of Souls. And the other factor about this Elephant lineup is that if they do win a team fight, they take objectives so fast. You know, if Somnus eventually goes into the Presence Aura Effects buildings, they win a team fight, there's not buybacks on key heroes. You've got the Venge, who's already got the Vengeance Aura to buff up that base damage. You've got a Luna with a Luna Blessing to buff up the damage even further, and then they could just very easily take out multiple towers in about 30 seconds time.
So do you then feel like Elephant's lineup is just a little bit easier to execute compared to RNG's?
I wouldn't say it's easier to execute. Like a Pangolier still makes this fight quite nice, right? Like you can be in on the front lines, you could be disrupting a Luna who doesn't have the greatest attack range, so she's not really in a position to be just right-clicking a Pango when he's rolling through. And I mean, a Shadow Fiend does need to channel up his Requiem, right? So as long as you can get onto him, you're preventing a lot of what he wants to do. My concern is that they're trying to perhaps be a little bit too clever. Like, what was wrong with putting Monkey King in the position 1 role against a Venge? I feel like the Venge just doesn't have a lane in that scenario, especially when paired together with an Ogre, because you've got the extra level of lockdown, right? Like, sure, you've got the slow with the Ignite, and you can pair that together with the Blood, right? And it could be fine. But given how much they buffed up the Boundless Strike, now having 1 second stun just at level 1, it seems like that's so much more potent, especially considering he's still gone for this Orb of Venom build as this position 4.
I also agree with the fact that the Monkey King's probably like top 5 carries, I think, in this patch. Like we've just seen some incredible performances from China in particular with how they've been able to play with the Monkey King. So trying to flex the Bloodseeker, feels like there's going to be a lot of emphasis on bringing the heroes down in the lane really low so Bloodseeker can utilize that thirst and be a little bit more of like a lane dominator in a way, but we'll see if this will come into fruition. I mean, it's going to be a double range for Elephant with Yang and FY, and I feel like you would really like to have the Venge protected with a beefy position 4. Like yesterday I saw the Venge String Protector in the QH, and that looked incredibly strong. So we'll see if there's any difference. My big worry about Venge is that you can very easily turn into position 4 if you don't have a good laning stage, because you don't really have the greatest way to keep up in farm. So I think this lane has to go really well for Elephant.
Yeah, the lane needs to go well. You can't flash farm. You don't have a native way to do it, and you want to rush that Ags as soon as possible. And like, the build up into that is kind of awkward. You know, you need to win team fight after team fight. I feel like, I mean, FY is going to be the one stacking, of course, for a Shadow Fiend as well as a Luna. But I feel like if Yang's able to get some of that passive gold coming through from the stacks, you know, Wave of Terror is a nice way to be able to get them. That would be quite nice for him. But yeah, his gold is heavily going to come, of course, from the laning phase, but also the objectives that the rest of his team are going to be able to get. So he's actually relying on the Shadow Fiend and Luna to have a good game, which, you know, it feels very conditional. You know, if they can get to that point, incredibly strong. But it's getting to that point that's the big issue. I'm a little disappointed that Felix didn't go for the cheeky Monkey King play with the Mischief, you know, looking to go inside the Radiant base and try and snipe some of their couriers, which were sitting outside the fountain. But, you know, you never know. It's, you don't want to be giving up the first blood super early on. Maybe it's something that he's done frequently in pubs, so they'd scouted him out a little bit, but always against a Monkey King, keep that in mind, guys. Keep your couriers in the fountain, not outside on the edge of the steps.
Huh, these turns kind of get a bodied, it looks like. Wow, I mean, it's... The Shadow Fiend matchups are a lot different than what they previous used to be with how much damage this Raze does. And, you know, we're still a hero that we haven't really seen picked up as much. Like, China has always been the feels like the one region that can just play this at such a high level. I think CIS as well for a while, where you're really enjoying, like, X-Gambit, and I think I don't remember the team now, No Pango or some crap like that. They just get the 15 talent and just push down objectives, and they had a real cool understanding of how the Shadow Fiend could fit into the meta. But you just see, I mean, Somnus is botting D-Zones with the consistent Raze spam, and I guess this is kind of the issue with the Queen of Pain, that you do have to get a little bit closer to the lane and even the hero to get that dagger out, and by that stage you're probably eating 2 Razes. So is the trade worthwhile?
And especially now that he's level 3, right? Like, level 1, sure, he had the salve available just to try and get the bit of a turnaround there. Has to be quite careful. He was able to get the dagger in onto Somnus, but, well, has to be careful. And this is just more and more creeps being denied away from him.
And you were probably hoping that mid lane to be harassing a lot more to help God King up top, because he'd love that right now with all the damage they've been taking. I mean, Red Panda's out of resources, and God King only has 1 more Tango left, so they've got a Tango and Cell coming through from Ogre. God King's going for Boots with the Courier, so you know, we'll see if they can survive on the lack of resources. I guess that's a nice thing about the Bloodseeker because of the Thirst.
And it's just the little things, like where Yang's positioning himself in the lane. He's always making sure that he's as far away from the Ogre Magi as possible, so that you're able to get some turnaround potential. Like he's on the left side of the creep wave.
First blood, Eurus. Okay, just gonna get back to safety. Apologies.
That's all good. But yeah, just constantly keeping away. They were kept low though, and you can see God King is already speeding around. He was at 550 movement speed previously. But now that the salves were used, obviously he slowed down to a measly 450. Able to try and harass out a little bit here. And, well, that's a nice value pick up as well from Red Panda, having the magic stick available. So he's able to consistently spam out those ignites as much as possible. Might be waiting for his level 3 until he uses it next, considering mana is such a valuable resource in this lane for him.
And you see, like, Red Panda feels pretty forced to play this lane with God King at the moment, so they don't have the greatest creep equilibrium, and this is really going to favor Elephant with how much they're getting out of it. They are kind of trading the experience with FY and Yang. I guess that's one of the issues with the Phoenix, is that he really needs 2 points in Fire Spirits to feel some heavy impact in the lane. So now that FY has this, I wonder if he's going to soak just a little bit less away from the Venge.
I think so. I mean, he's done his job, right? They made sure to keep the equilibrium right there next to the tower, although FY in a little bit of a vulnerable spot here, gets silenced up.
Should be our first blood with the ignite damage ticking on through. Yes, it will. Red Panda will claim it. And our Yang as well is going to be pretty cautious. Another round of the ignite and blood rights up in a couple seconds. And Yang's actually going to hold firm in his position, and that'll cost him his life.
Bleed out.
Yeah, you can't let that that ogre get next to you. I feel like if you just drop the blood right, or if he only gets the ignite off, you're going to probably survive. But the fire blast such a short range, so a little bit of a surprise to me that Yang was just staying that far forward. FY just looking to prioritize Somnus's lane a fair amount, considering how decently it's gone to be able to start things off. Just keep the pressure in onto D-Stone, so at least you've got that lane going well for you. Offside looking like Flyby. He's taken up a small camp here, looking to perhaps body block it up as well after the fact. Sitting top on the net worth there. It's not going to get the maximum value. Actually doesn't even get the body block off. You never want to use that healing salve when you've got that Vul debuff on you. It significantly reduces the impact of it, and I see way too many people do it.
Flyby's having quite the lane though. Yeah, 32 last hits, Orb Corrosion already picked up, and Boots will be coming out shortly too. So it feels like they've got a lot of kill prowess here with this Monkey King 4. The Felix.
Red Panda getting turned around on a little bit here. Actually, the stun underneath the blood right, and that's 2 points in the ignite. Are they going to be able to pick off Yang? I feel like they might.
Put another round of the missile actually, and damage is surprisingly high once you start stacking up the levels. So King, Strength Treads. Whew, saving lives.
Strength Treads, Tango given over and runs under the tower as well for that tiny bit of extra regen.
Yours? Oh my god, he's so weak.
Radiant's courier has
Oh,
been
not the
killed.
courier. Not the courier.
They get a kill on top side.
Poor old Red Panda. He's just,
He was out of mana anyway.
Yeah.
He wanted the trip back.
probably bring another salve potentially for the Bloodseeker as well. Maybe any items he's got. Looks like he's already got his items. Treads completed, just straight into the Maelstrom Rush. And for mid lane, we've seen a lot of contention in the sides. How's this continuing to develop here? There's 22 and 7 for the Queen of Pain, 34 and 13. So honestly, Shadow Fiend's having a much better time than I was expecting. I really felt like the Queen of Pain was the better way to deal with Shadow Fiend when he was going for this heavy Necromastery build, but now you can just, seems to be like you can out-harass very easily with Raze, so I'm just doing very well.
Looking to harass out Somnus a little bit here. Felix is able to get off the D ward there of the Observer and the Sentry, so Somnus has to be a little careful. He doesn't have Requiem.
You know what he does have?
FY to back him up.
That and Raindrops, saving lives too. Somnus. Very nice early pickup in the itemization. We always like to point out the value that people can get in the Raindrop, and you're helping out.
It's so good, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. It doesn't even need the mana regen to be that good, honestly.
D-Strength has got ulti. So maybe this level 6 can come into play. They're going to turn and try and kill off the Queen of Pain before she can get the massive pure damage that bursts through Somnus. And unfortunately for Yang, it's a little bit too late for the party, and they will not be able to find a Retribution kill.
Yeah, and the fact that they weren't able to get any kills at all means that FY is back at 0 earn charges. He got it super early, just completely rushing it. A lot of the times you see the Phoenix like to go, into the Tranquil Boots or something like that just to enable him to stay in lane. He's actually getting rolled in on here by Flyby. Heavy rotation.
And what a use of the Rolling Thunder! Perfect bounce backs from Flyby. Great use of this early ultimate and finding his counterpart in the position 3 killed off. And meanwhile, King, he's just freely pushing out a top. He's top of the net worth, doing a little bit of chip damage into this tower.
Not really any stacks being prioritized for RNG. Makes sense, they don't have the greatest stack-taking lineup for sure. Looking to make a bit of an aggressive mood here, but Super could look to go for the turnaround.
I wonder if they're going to give mid over to the Phoenix or the Nyx, because one of these heroes is going to need, well, I guess it's FY now with him tipping over. This is going to get him some nice solo experience as well, getting closer and closer towards the level 6, which is very valuable for Elephant, because they don't really have the playmakers. It's going to be pretty reliant on the Nyx Vendetta to scout and set up these pickoffs, and then for the team fight, that's where you want the Supernova to come into play.
And the urn charges as well. Like, he just picked up another one from being able to kill that.
Down bot, flyby. Can he get the ultimate off to stop the magical damage? Ooh. The beam will cancel, and here comes the rotation. God King, the artillery with the rupture will lock in Eurus, and now God King moving at a speed that Elephant are unable to deal with. He'll pick up a double kill. The third movement speed's about to expire though, and he might be penalized here as there's no escape. A swap back into his demise as Yang will secure the double.
And it's just back and forth here. Very aggressive from, you know, Chinese Dota standards. I feel like Yang is doing a pretty good job, although he's getting gone on a little bit here. He'll end up paying with his life. More commitments coming through, it feels like.
They have the egg.
The Eclipse available.
They're just going to drop it. No messing around, just in case a bigger team fight breaks out here as FY. Popping the Supernova early on cooldown, but, you know, Eurus come back to the lane. We'll clean off Red Panda. They might also catch out Felix as well. With this consistent chip damage. And there is no way for him to get the tree.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You can see there he even had to cancel the Boundless Strike, having the risk of the Nyx Assassin popping the Carapace way too much. Still ends up dying. And, well, it's still the Nyx Assassin that feeds his, gets the kill bounty anyway, so... Things going well overall for Elephant so far. I feel like you're pretty happy with the status quo that's gone on so far. You mean the mid lane went well. Sure, there was some support coming through. Luna had a rough-ish start to the laning stage, but she's come right on back. She's sitting second. She's only now put the points into the Moonglaive, so she's not quite as easily going to be able to take these stacks, but I just like how Elephant have gone about these timings. You know, it's only at this point now that they're starting to build up the stacks because they put so much priority into making sure the laning stage went well.
Somnus has haste. They need to make sure they lead him with the rupture, otherwise he's just going to be gone. So a 3-hero rotation force to try and kill off Somnus, and they might be penalized. Well aware of Super's positioning, but great timing the Spike Carapace. There's the rupture out. Maybe they can collapse on the Shadow Fiend. This Rolling Thunder is going to force him to compromise his positioning, and yeah, Somnus doesn't look like there's any escape as the haste will expire. Even D-Stone's making sure they secure the kill, but meanwhile Felix is split away for the team, so they will get the secondary support kill. It might also be transition into the Pangolier. Eurus as well will drop the Eclipse, make sure they have all the damage in the tank to clean off the Pango.
Yeah, and just more and more farm being pumped into this Luna. Something that I'm honestly a little surprised about is the fact that FY, look at his build. He's got no points in Sunray, and it's level 7. So just wanting to prioritize a lot of that attack speed slow, realizing how important it is to be able to take care of this Monkey King in the laning stage, just to deal a lot of the burst damage to prevent them getting, you know, a little bit more aggressive onto you. And you know, with the Sunray, I mentioned how effective you can be as a Pangolier, as a Monkey King. Hell, even the Bloodseeker can just stop you very easily. So just wanting to secure the early game and realizing that, you know, you can trust the fact that Luna's going to be able to bring you into the later stages of the game, and that's when you can start to level it up.
Yeah, I feel like Elephant, once this game heads later and later, they're going to be heavily favored. I mean, you've got two heavily physical damage dealing heroes, which will very much utilize the Vengeance Aura. They don't have the greatest way to kill off the Supernova, and just feels like Dire, like a Bloodseeker is not going to scale as well. It's definitely like a mid-game orientated hero where you can kind of snowball your early itemization, you know, with that second item BKB timing.
Yeah, Yang will have his Ags as well, which, you know, it's essentially like a Wraith King ulti, you know? You've got 2 lives, and there's nothing that you need to do about it. Like, you can't, even Break doesn't disable it. You're always going to be able to get it off.
Man, Super, every time he's playing this Nyx Assassin, he just does way too much on it. Just pop the smoke, and the instant numbers are there to back him up as well. He's always in the right place at the right time. It will be killed off this time. Flyby actually doesn't have somewhere to bounce back on, but They can claim the kill with these stones nonetheless. They're going to try and target down Yang now. Maybe the Supernova will actually force them to reset their positioning. But a Supernova from afar will still claim the kill. Even Eurus looking to get involved as well. They can chase down Felix. It's not the easiest kill with the lack of stuns, but Eurus has the beam back up and available in the arsenal. They'll claim the kill, but Flyby still getting involved. The Blinking, Shield Crash claims FY's life, and that is a dominating killing streak as well, so no joke in the amount of gold given over.
Yeah, and it looks like Mid Wars is just continuing. You have 5 people on both teams just battling around this mid lane, and, well, both towers still up and available. I feel like it's so much more important that RNG don't give up their mid tower, though, right? Like I mentioned before, it's true for objectives in terms of towers, but you lose a team fight, that Roche is really high value right now for Elephant.
What would you have expected the itemization to be for a Monkey King position 4 in this game?
Not the Atos that he's looking to build into. I think the Orb of Corrosion is fine, but he's stacking it up with the Pango, which isn't great. Maybe a Falcon Blade, you know? You never know.
The cheeky nice Falcon Blade.
Yeah. I mean, just there he dropped the Wukongs, right? And it was able to secure the cleanup kill onto Yang. You know, you just want to try and be as tanky as possible in my eyes, and give a lot of vision, right? He's fulfilling kind of what you see with the likes of a TA, a Disruptor, a Night Stalker, just providing a lot of extra vision for his team.
I'm intrigued to see if Elephant are going to kind of respect the Wukongs as this game goes on, because quite often we see like teams, you can never fight into it because of the prowess of just the area control that it can provide the enemy team. So I wonder if this game it's going to be different, just because of course it's a support monkey, so it won't do as much damage.
But eventually, like, he's gone Atos, which I think received a big buff in 7.3. You know, faster projectile speed, gives 4 more intelligence compared to previous, 2 more agi, 2 more strength. So it's approaching Dragonlance in terms of like value for money, basically. Sure. And then you've even got some potential scalability if you want to. Yang is getting gone on a little bit here with the Wukongs being dropped.
Yeah, they're so close to the Aghanim's as well. You can't be giving up your life this close to it, considering how long it's already taken him to get to that stage. I mean, you know, this is a hero that really relies on this first item being picked up and then to lead into some secondary ones afterwards. So slowing that down as much as possible is exactly what RNG want. And, you know, when they hit this BKB timing on Queen of Pain and on Bloodseeker, they're going to look to really fasten up the pace.
Yeah, they'll ramp it up pretty damn quickly.
Dyer's
and
middle tower is under attack.
Is Flyby going up
structures are
a
fortified.
Bloodstone? Or is that an Octarine?
That's an Octarine.
Okay. Whew, I was about to say. But, yeah, on the Monkey King, eventually you are going to be able to, if you want to scale, like become a 4th core, go into something like a Gleipnir, you know? The Atos does eventually scale into that. You're going to be able to give a little bit of extra lockdown once those BKBs start to get lower. The extra
Mid-lane Flyby.
That is great.
Gonna try and protect the Ogre Magi. Moving forward with the Rolling Thunder. It's not the greatest placement in the Supernova. I guess it just stops any more extra follow-up with Flyby's ultimate. So couple of traded abilities here, and even D-Stone's just cleaning Super. So in the end, it's just a 1-for-1 with the position 5s falling.
It was a Supernova popped, then again it was a Sonic Wave used as well, so I feel like again it's just a very even trade. The big win though for Elephant, like I was mentioning before, is the fact that they were able to take out that tier 1 tower. So they've got a lot more control, excuse me, around this mid lane now. Eurus can feel somewhat safer to farm around his tri-camp area, and then again, if another big team 5 victory goes their way and you've got the Eurus for it, as we're going to make a bit of a play here onto God King, as Yang, he's still just so close.
Like, how do you start this fight? You're teetering forward on the bench for Spirit, but still fighting before the Aghanim's with the BKB. Instantly answered from both the cores here, but God King a little bit more cautious on pushing on forward without recognizing what's on the backline. So instead, he'll just turn to deal with the pesky bug and kill off Super.
It's only 100 gold away, man. Like, why are you taking that fight? Why are you getting that aggressive when you can just literally farm up, and even if you get picked off like that, you've got the second life. You can potentially have that turnaround potential. It's one of those things where I feel like Elephant, they just get a little too confident with their teamfight ability. Like, of course, they're great players, and they can execute at such a high level, but
Somnus? Requiem,
Somnus?
not even going to be charged up. They can chain control him. BKB still on cooldown, and Somnus? He's going to get penalized, condemned for his positioning, and Eurus has to force a... not the greatest usage of the BKB. I mean, this is his first duration of it, so... Elephant are really giving RNG a big opportunity to put their stamp in the mid game.
Blessings upon a
It just feels like completely unnecessary, you know, like avenge death that shouldn't have happened. Finally, he's picked up his Aghanim Scepter, which of course, fantastic. But I mean, he just TP'd right onto someone that was standing there, like he saw him. He had complete vision that he was just standing there waiting for the TP to complete. Doesn't have BKB, finishes the TP anyway, and then again forcing the first BKB out of the Luna as well, just to get a Pango in return. Like, it's a pos 3 for a pos 2. It's not really all that worth it.
Are you on agreement that Radiant should not feel pressured at all to be taking these fights? Like, why are they not just looking to continue farming across the map? Like, I feel like late game they are stronger.
Yeah, I feel like that as well, especially like maybe it'll be a bit more of a factor once Eurus finishes up this Manta style and he can be doing a lot more of the ghost push, let's call it. Just toss the illusions up onto the top side, be continuing to get more farm in multiple areas of the map. This smoke makes a lot more sense. You know, you don't have the Eclipse, sure, but you've got everything else. You've got the Vendetta, you've got the Requiem, you've got multiple BKBs on your targets, and you've got the Vanjags. And, well, it feels like RNG, no. But is Flyby going to be in a position to get the initiation?
Again,
yes,
what a
is.
turn back. The use of the Aghanim shot that was freshly completed. If they target down Yang, it's not the biggest issue because he has this Aghanim, so he'll still have some impact in the team fight, but they don't get the swap back into the Supernova. So again, the execution from Elephant really lacking in these fights.
And a team like RNG, they're going to punish you. You know, they're still looking to just go into Roche. I don't know about this. You know, you use the Supernova, you don't have Venge. Eclipse is going to be up in 10 seconds, I suppose, but it's a ballsy attempt. You got to risk it for the biscuit, though.
All right, you got both BKB on Luna, Shadow Fiend, Dire, they're coming over, 5 on 4. Yang's up in a couple seconds here. They're going to try and target down the Nyx Assassin, swap back to safety. Somnus isn't doing enough damage on the outskirts of the fight. It's all Eurus trying to man-fight God King and D-Stones, but he doesn't have the damage of the tank. With Somnus not nearby, he can't do it all on his lonesome self, and Yang, he's also disconnected from the team. Super's going to try and get nearby to help him out on the first initial life. He's still going to fall. Maybe the help with this illusion, however, can come in costly. Flyby cannot get the Rolling Thunder off as finally Elephant will claim 4 kills, and also the cherry on top is the Aegis.
And you just saw the difference there of being able to take a fight with the Ags, right? Yang was able to completely zone out God King, even getting the kill. And even though they were able to kill him, sure, you give up a little bit of a kill bounty to Red Panda, you know, the enemy position 5, and you're still there just to get all of your abilities off. So the fact that he didn't have the greatest early game, the laning stage wasn't fantastic, and he gave up multiple kills where he probably shouldn't have, and still can have this level of impact, just goes to show how strong the Vengeful Spirit hero is. And I'm kind of surprised that it's not being picked up more and more. Like, you don't even need to TP back out, right? In 2 seconds, he's just going to be here right next to Super again.
Cool concept. Gets experience while he's in it too. Very, very cool concept. Yeah.
Moves faster as well.
Does he?
Yep, 25% faster.
Huh, yes, very cool. How's his talent? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just go missile talents. Kind of crazy. What, 6.3 second cooldown? Plus 200 magic missile damage, was going to go up to 560. Then at 25, it can goddamn pierce spell immunity. How crazy is that for 1.7 seconds? Very cool.
TP's coming back to the mid lane. They clearly are considering contesting this. I don't know if you're in a position to do it just yet, as Super walks underneath the Sentry Ward. It's a very heavy commitment, though, onto just a Nyx Assassin, and TP interrupted.
Yeah, I think it was Monkey Top that... Boundless is still off cooldown, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they just stopped. Well, they're going to lose their mid tier 1. At least they get the tier 2 in exchange, of course. Not opting to take the outpost just yet. I feel like that's going to reveal so much information. And Yang, you know, he's going to put his body there again. If I die, I die. I'm going to have the second life anyway, so he's not going to hinder his effectiveness all that much. And it's just going to become so much harder to kill him, right? Like, he's going into the BKB next, and it looks like after that it's just all about auras, you know, because they're always going to be ever present in a lot of these team fight situations.
Smoke up on Dire, looking to try and connect down to bot, where God King will show if they can get a kill into an objective. It'll be a worthwhile smoke from Dire, although they might just look to run into Yang and Somnus, who once again is very disconnected from the team. Oh, they've got to be, man, so careful on Elephant. You do have the Aegis advantage on Somnus, but taking a fight around the choke point. Oh, there's the BKB, the nick of time, but it's not going to matter. They'll target through Yang. I don't know if they can deal with the illusion, and Flyby just gets ripped apart. Somnus out of nowhere. This fresh Crystallis completed just crits through the Pango.
Yeah, the presence of the Dark Lord there, the use of the Dragon Lance to give him that little bit of extra attack range means that Eurus can very easily deal with Pango if he's anywhere close. They didn't even deal with Avenge, right? So he's still got that Vengeance aura, assisting the taking of towers. Somnus, when the presence of the Dark Aura affects building talent, so again, Elephant just stamping their authority on this map little bit by bit. Could have been an even better position for them if they played things differently.
Oh,
yeah, again, doesn't even need to TP out. Like, he's just sticking next to Super. He's going to respawn in about another 5 seconds. Very balanced.
And
immediately back to farming.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Very cool hero. Meanwhile, as well, Eurus is just free farming across the map. He's still top of the net worth, and we've been seeing all the damage output that Shadow Fiend's going to have, but it's going to get to a stage where Luna can also just stand her ground against the Bloodseeker, against the Pango, especially through the BKB duration. They're going full damage here on Elephant.
I mean, you can kind of afford to, right? Like, you've got a Phoenix who's going to be able to sustain you with the Supernova, FY with the dive off to the side to plant the ward, and yeah, just keep the push going. Why not? Presence of the Dark Lord, affecting towers, reducing its armor by half. All Yang needs to do is stand there. They had a siege creep assisting, and Luna able to just dodge a lot of this. Like, you lose the tier 1 tower, who cares? Just keep pushing on forward.
Do we feel like RNG have kind of lost the status quo of this game almost, and it just feels like Elephant have gotten their items and they now recognize their timing with how strong they are. We'll charge up Requiem. It's only Felix, and it wasn't a lot of damage at the start, but now the damage is coming through with the crits. Yang, they might just offer the sacrifice of the Vayne. And yeah,
there we go.
Venge will fall.
Still a buyback used though. Ooh. Didn't have any way to interrupt that TP, unfortunately. D-Stones doesn't have a Yule Scepter or anything like that. He's got an Orchid though, so if he's able to catch FY, could get the kill.
Oh, nice blink.
Oh, found it.
Pinpoint precision of the escape route from FY, so 2 will fall. Instantly you see Elephant recognizing their duty. Mid shoved out from Eurus, top shoved out as well from Somnus, so they might end up losing bottom, but this is a really fast-paced move from RNG. They're going to look to try and connect to the top lane where they do see Somnus underneath the observer ward. Super just might be in the right spot at the right time again, man. That is a clutch position for the Nyx Assassin, popping the smoke. If it wasn't him, it well and truly could have been Somnus as they were looking to connect top.
Yeah, I mean, even in a best-case scenario, you at minimum pop the BKB to be able to live, and I feel like RNG would have been happy with that. So the fact that he's still able to retain that, big win coming through for Elephant. Super, again, just his positioning perfect.
If Felix jumps right, his TP's on cooldown for another 10.
The ping's coming
out. Wait, Somnus is in really big trouble. 5 seconds still TP. He used it too early. I think it won't be able to cover the TP. So Somnus stuck around. They got the kill on Super. They're still going to catch Somnus as well. Oh, it's not good. I was singing props to Super, and then you stay there. Oh.
I mean, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And I'm sure Super was just saying, I did my job, guys. Congratulations, you survived. And then Somnus is just like, you know what? I am going to farm. I am going to go on the enemy side of the map when I have no vision. and just think that I'm going to be able to survive.
Radiant's top tower.
Radiant-
Maybe
is
now
under
he'll be able to
attack.
make a bit more of that play, right? Because he's got the Silver Edge, it's got a lower cooldown compared to the Shadow Blade, so the relative uptime of your invisibility is a lot higher. So until those gems start to get picked up. But, I mean, Felix Shabbat, you just give so much information, right? Like, sure, it's nice if you're able to get to level 10 and have the extra Tree Dance Vision AoE, but even just being able to dance around in the trees with the extra cast range, you're basically a moving ward that can never get dewarded unless you die. And like I said before, the Atos gives a ton of extra strength now. You've got the Pupil's Gift for the 14 stats, so he's just trying to be as tanky as possible. And yep, kind of like what I was thinking, he's gone into the Gleipnir, so he's going to have that extra scaling potential as well.
I'm really excited to see how God King can fare late game, because I think the Aghanim shot is absolutely stupid with 2% damage, and I
Max.
believe it's pure as well, and max health as too. So that scales really, really well into the late game. Can he match
Somnus.
versus Shadow Fiend, versus Luna? They're going to jump in,
Caught him
Sleek, can he
again.
get the BKB of the chain lock now? Oh, what a
Nice
swap. Yang putting his body on the line. Get down, Mr. President. I'll keep you alive. And that he does from Yang. So you're going to be cautious of how long they stick around, because they're going to pounce in full. A supernova in the middle of the fight. God King, he recognizes he can't take the fight. The swap back in range. They just get the stun. What a swap from Yang. He started the fight to protect Somnus, and he'll end it with swapping in the Bloodseeker.
Venge is very balanced. Didn't even have to pop the BKB, I don't believe, for all of that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, what can you do against this when you have to commit so heavily to be able to pick off a target once, and then he's just able to do it again? And he's going to be respawning with the rest of his team with extra movement speed
Dire's middle tower
in the next
is under
30
attack.
seconds. And again,
Radiant's
Siege Creep
bottom
alive,
tower
they
is
don't
under
have
attack.
Glyph, you've got this aura, they
Dire's
might just end the
middle
game.
tower
Like,
has
again,
fallen.
there's no hero other than Luna that does this quite to the
Pengu, you
same
gotta buy
extent.
back.
Look at these towers melt.
Dire's middle
You
tower
might
has
just keep
fallen.
hitting. Like, they don't have glyph. Flyby, it's all up to you. Let's see how long they can disable this. BKB is freshly picked up
Wukong's
once
in too.
again. Off the cooldown, Somnus. Looking to charge up the Requiem. Give them enough time to bring down the pesky heroes. As I don't think D-Stones has got the damage that we're really relying on the Bloodseeker, but that's a dieback for your Pango. And they're just going to try and hit the throne. It's all up to D-Stones. Finally, the glyph is back up and available. But years will find the Queen of Pain from afar thanks to the Aghanim shard. And that's all she wrote. Elephant, one good team fight to end
Yeah.
it all.
Like I said, you cannot lose a team fight without buybacks against this lineup, because they will just demolish you. They just went all in onto all of this pumped up damage. I don't think he even had, like, there wasn't a Vlad's, there wasn't an AC, there wasn't a Desolator or anything like that. Just relying on their inbuilt abilities with the Lunar Blessing, Presence of the Dark Lord affecting buildings, and then, of course, the Vengeance Aura just buffing it up even further. So it's pretty impossible to play into this Venge as soon as she picks up that Ags. Like, it just feels so annoying to try and deal with, especially, I mean, they weren't even lacking in, like, control, right? You've got a Pango, you've got a multiple stuns and slows coming out from a bunch of different heroes, but it just wasn't enough. I think they only killed the Venge Ags illusion once.
Yep.
And that was when it was literally inside their base on its own. Like, Yang, even with 11 deaths, MVP for mine.
It was still... Wait, that's a big call. That's a big
What?
call. Are we going to stick...
MVP?
Yeah.
What, you gonna give it to Super?
I don't know. No, I'm not going to give it to Super. What the hell? Position 5 as MVP? Pfft. Get out of here. I think
Well, it's not going to
honestly,
Somnus, I'll say that
I don't
much.
know who I'd honestly I don't know who I'd give it to. Honestly, I think Elephant though. This seems still there's a big issue with Venge. Like getting that Aghanims is the issue. We saw how long it took Yang, and for RNG they just weren't able to accumulate enough of a net worth lead to penalize that kind of long timing that was coming through from the Venge. But we saw how much work it was able to do in multiple fights, the saving factor, just the consistent nuisance of this missile, and also the minus armor. Like you had so many ways to buff up your heroes, like the aura from Venge, the wave of terror, the Shadow Fiend as well, even Luna's aura. Like there's just multiple ways to accumulate such a ridiculous amount of damage, and it showed in the end. Like, they could just stand their ground and win these man fights too often. And for RNG, I mean, it was a hell of a game from Flyby. We saw how he was able to play the Pangolier. KDA doesn't look the greatest, but with his initiations and how he was able to kind of turn the fights with that Rolling Thunder use was, really, really solid. But unfortunately, I mean, Elephant, they just got to the stage where you couldn't man fight. And again, it's like we always see, you win one fight with Luna, you walk it down and you're able to end the game just like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was something that I was always kind of mindful of, right? I was thinking, how many times have you been in a pub against a Luna, right? And then you just lose a single team fight and then lose the game because of exactly that situation where you just your base just melts and you've got everything else to buff up that kind of capability. It's crazy that it's possible, but Elephant, they executed it to its full potential.
Oh, they very much did now. And with the game advantage, I mean, who knows what can happen in the second game? Maybe RNG, can bring it back and somehow force this game 3. Considering RNG, they also 2-0'd Elephant in the group. So we saw earlier that IG were able to kind of get a little bit of revenge, considering they lost in the groups versus Magma and knock them out. Maybe RNG can do the same thing. Maybe they can come back, stem the momentum that Elephant have at the moment and force this game 3, and then it's anyone's ball game at that stage. But at the moment, Elephant, a game advantage heading into our second game. Who's going to be the second team eliminated from the Imba TV I-League Season 2? We'll find out next.